Young guns, ain't thinking down. I ain't stand my grind, I take my mask off. I take my mask off, cause y'all are clowns. I take my mask off. My mask off, cause y'all are clowns. Body is the medicine.
I'm puzzled why you sleeping like a sedative. Better get ready, kid. I ain't hesitant, man, they lie. We gon' get the win and they cry. I'ma get it lit so they fry. And if I live in him, I won't die. To live is Christ and to die is gain. If I die for Christ, I won't die in vain. And I'ma fight for life, cause I don't like the chains. You know I'm on the right, cause I don't like the games. This is standoff, yeah, this is standoff.
I ain't backing down. I stand my grind, I take my mask off. I take my mask off. What's up, everybody? That's Tyson James, part of the Mega Rappers, great rapper. So, take your mask off. It's the song. But today I want to talk about stop putting your fears onto your children. I had my granddaughter this week. I took her back home on Wednesday. But it's so funny because she had to do 2 days of online. She's 4 years old, 2 days of school with me. So online with like 3 other kids and there's 2 teachers. So at the end, they was talking about how they were going to have a meeting for the parents online and talk about, will the kids go back to school? Will the kids won't? So my granddaughter was like, I want to go to school. I supposed to meet people and meet friends and meet people. I want to go to school. So she was like, but one of the boys' parents came on, no, I'm going to keep him home or whatever. But in the black culture history, when the slavery, they used to take the man, beat him in front of his wife and his children to keep control. As an example, like, don't get out of line, don't try to do this or that, or this would have happened to you, or this would happen to your son or to your kids. So that has stuck through generation after generation in the black culture, especially with black mothers that have sons or whatever. It's a fear. If I don't do this for my son or this, he's going to go out and he's going to die. He's going to get killed. Or I'm afraid for him, so I don't want him to do this or do that. He needs to do what's safe or what I think is safe, or hold their children back. So I'm going on a trip sometime next week, or not next week, the week after next. So I'm taking my grandbaby with me. So when I dropped her off, we were talking about the plane and things, and she's so excited to go on the trip or whatever. And her mom has never been on a plane before. So she told her mom, don't be scared. It's okay. It's all right. You're going to be okay. And she gave her mom a hug, telling her don't be afraid to get on the plane. Now, granted, my grandbaby ain't never been on a plane either. But I'm giving these 2 examples of this because the heart of a child is pure. It's a pure heart. They're honest and truthful. So when naturally came out, my grandbaby, she naturally didn't have a fear of going to school. She's never been, but so she's not afraid. She's not afraid to get on the plane. She ain't never been, but she's not afraid. So, fear is being taught to our children. We give our children fear. We teach them fear. Fear this. Fear these things because I fear them, so I put the fear onto you. And she doesn't want my grandbaby to go back to school till September because of COVID, which is going to make a difference. Nothing, because nothing's going to change in September. COVID is here to stay, just like every planned virus that they made is here to stay. What happens is your body gets immune to it, and we move on and live our lives. So COVID's never going anywhere. So it's really no difference. But her fear, which doesn't even bother children, is keeping her child from wanting her child to go to school, which would be best for her child to do, but she's scared for her own fears. My grandbaby isn't afraid. She's scared to get on the plane, but my grandbaby isn't afraid. And that can hold children up in life, and it does hold children up in life, because when you teach your kids fear, it doesn't stop in one area. It goes through all other areas of their life. They'll be afraid to do anything because they've been taught fear. Once fear is implanted in the spirit, the child grows up with fear. Now, fear is operated by Satan. Faith is operated by God. So when you're putting these fears on your child into them, you're giving Satan power over your children. Satan gets strength in fear. He has no power in faith. So we need to stop putting our fears onto our children. The best thing you can do for your child is pray for them. Teach them right. Give them God. Teach them right. Be a good example in front of them, and pray. And cover them with the blood. That's all you can do as a parent. But those are the most powerful tools that you have. And if you have faith, they work. Prayer works. Covering your children with the blood works. But putting our fears on our children, stunting their growth in life. It stunts their growth. And that's what's going on. People walking around. I have a friend that won't see her mother because of COVID. Her mother could die tomorrow. She wasted all this time not seeing her mother. She and either one of them have COVID. It does not make any sense. Fear, keeping you from your family, but then when your family gone, you want to weep when you had the time to spend with them. And that's why the atrocity of what Whitmore did here, and Cuomo and Wolf and these other governors did with locking these elderly people away and contaminating them with sick people, and then they passed and family couldn't see them, they locked down. That's why this is such an atrocity that needs to be dealt with legally. They need to answer for what they did, for the deaths of the elderly that they subjected them to and denied their family access to them. They need to be held accountable for that. So that's a whole nother video, but fear. Keeping you from the things. And it's amazing to me how we were able to go to school. We were able to live our lives. We have had many swine flu, all these other flus and things that they plan to put together and put out into the population. But this one, they political size because of an election to show you this person died every day. If you knew how many people died in the world every day, you wouldn't get out of bed. You wouldn't get out of bed. Somebody's dying every second, every minute of the day. Somebody's passing away. So you will never live if you base your living off somebody dying. Life is for the living, not for the dead. So we need to stop pushing fear, because the reason why you're scared is because the media has pushed the fear onto you, so then you push it onto your children. We have to stop putting our fears onto our children. It stops them from excelling in life, from having any ambition, any adventure in life. It stops them. Many parents don't live a productive life. Don't do anything. Their children never see them take a chance on anything because their parents are scared to. People are so stuck at jobs because they're scared to leave. Because how will I survive when God said, don't worry about what you eat or what you clothe yourself? He said, don't worry about that. Because if he takes care of the birds and the flowers, why makes you think he wouldn't take care of you? So our fears make us hold on to dead-end jobs, stay in dead-end places because we're too scared to make a move, to live our life. We stay where it's safe, and then we say, well, I ain't going to do this until God tell me. No, you're not doing it because you're afraid to. Not because God didn't tell you, because God said, I can't tell you. There's many things that God can't tell us because we can't hear him, because our fear blocks him from being able to give us the information that we need. You can't hear him. You have a block. So he can't give you something that your faith is not at the level to have, to accept, to understand. And I have always, not always, but reading the Bible and the stories of the Bible about Jesus and Moses and leading the people out of Egypt, and I just was wondering, like, how does these people turn their back on Jesus, or see the things that God has done and still be like with doubt? Jesus walked with people, literally, and Judas turned his back on him. People still doubting him when they seen him do miracles and still would doubt him. And I said, how is that so, God? How can people doubt Jesus when they walked with him, touched him, talked to him? And it's like, why are we so stupid? Because we're doing the same thing they did. We have a reference to go back to, which is the Word. We have the Holy Spirit. We have things to let us know what God has done to keep us in faith, and we still doubt and still live in more fear than we ever do in faith. So I was trying to understand, like, how is this possible? Why are we so stupid? I said, Louise, dumb. How could we still operate this way? What is wrong with us? Because I couldn't understand why people in the Bible did these things. Like, who would do that? But it can be done because we're doing it now. We are literally letting a government take our rights right before us. We voluntarily gave them much, which was foolish, because God said that should have never been done to begin with. And we're literally allowing them to take the pure life out of our children. Put masks on our kids and tell them to be scared. This is going to protect you. No, it's not. Instead of teaching them God, giving them the Lord, you're giving them a piece of cloth to have faith in, which has no power. You doing all of these things, stopping your children from living life. The things that you very for had in yours, you keeping from your children because of fear. And that is really why this is allowing to go on, because people are afraid. People going to church with masks on their faces because they're afraid. But instead of going in there with faith that God says in his word that you're supposed to be worshiping, you go in there with no faith and say you praising God. And the church is supposed to be the leader to teach the world. If the church ain't standing in the pure faith of God, then how can we be examples for the world who don't know God? It's foolish. Foolish thinking. And it's hurting our children. Every message that God gives me is about the children. Everyone has something to do with the children. I posted an article about the 150 kids they found in Tennessee and the trafficking ring. Some of them were runaways, all ages, sex. They had 150 children out of 250 that's missing. They got 150. I think was in Mississippi, found 30 children. This is real. The attack on the children is so grand, it's ridiculous. And nobody's paying attention to what's really going on. Because the church is asleep, afraid, and pretending like they don't see what's going on in the world. They're not standing up to their job in the world because of their lack of faith. And it's so foolish. I remember on my job on the Zoom when Atlanta said they was opening up last spring. Oh, they trying to kill the black people. They gonna die. That is foolish. They're opening up. That's stupid. But what happened? Nothing happened. Other than the ignorant riots and burning down the businesses, nothing happened to the people. But all my co-workers were so, oh my God, they're going to die. They're going to get the COVID. They're stupid, this and that. They wasn't. The people opened their businesses. When the riots and stuff stopped, they started building their stuff and opening their business and living their life. And everybody since then has been flying in and out of Georgia to freedom. From states like this, Jezebel ran, tyranny state, flying to Georgia, going on vacations as much as they can, and nothing never happened. But everybody was so scared. Oh, they worried, they dumb. Of course I work with predominantly all black folks. So they were all scared that Atlanta thought it was so stupid they were opening up. And nothing happened. Nothing happened. There were no extraordinary deaths. No nothing out of the ordinary. And nobody was wearing masks in Atlanta, Georgia. None. My daughter gonna be in the Georgia. She in there. She there right now. Right now. And nothing happened to these people. Nothing. They're living their lives. But all of them thought the same thing, and something's wrong with that. All of them were on the same accord, singing the same song. And it was stupid. It was sad. It's like they were ignorant to the fact of, think about what you're saying. They didn't do no real research. Whatever the news flashed, that's what they believe. Whatever the media, CNN, MSNBC, Fox, whatever they said, falsely, that's what they believed, which was a lie. They believed it. These people have been living their lives, running their businesses, going to bars, going to restaurants, going to everything packed. My daughter, like, you go down there, it's packed. People all up against you and nobody wearing no mask. And they're living their lives and nobody's dropping dead. And this is what people don't understand. It's like you could be over here talking, no mask, just talking to people. Then you'll see people over here huddled up with masks on and doing all of this in fear. And you can literally have two different types of people in one area. Over here, you see these people here and this. We across state lines, you'll see a state, 2-3 states over, living their lives free. We here under tyranny. Well, people literally are putting on 2 masks like a fool. When you got people in Georgia and other states, because other states wasn't wearing masks, they just making announcements now, but they wasn't wearing masks in other states as well. And they've been living their whole life while you across a border. Because a couple states away, you live in a whole different way. Because of fear, you live in a whole different way while these people living over here. And it makes no sense. It's like when God said, help me, God, I'm stranded, or send help. But every time somebody knocked on the door to help, you never answered. Because you said you was waiting on Jesus to come. But God said, I did come. I sent him to come get you. I sent all these people. Now you're dead. Because you would never open the door and take the help that I sent. You never would open the door out of fear to take the help I sent. because you didn't have enough faith to know that I'm the one that's sending the help for you. So you sat there and died when I kept sending the people that come rescue you. And that's what God is saying. I've given y'all the power within you to do what needs to be done. But you keep waiting on me to come rescue you. You keep waiting on me to rescue you, and I've already gave you the power of the rescue inside of you. But you living like the land ain't healed. You living like if you walk out your house without a mask, you're going to drop dead, God said. So what you want me to do, God is saying. I've given you what you needed. I've healed the land. You still walking around scared, like I have not done anything. God is like, so you choose to live this way because you want to live this way. You want to live in the fear. You want to be separate from your family. You want to stand on the X or circle as they tell you to. You want to wear masks. You want things to be shut down. You want your kids not to have a fulfillment of life and live how they should be because you won't energize and use the tools and power that I already given you because you're scared. And because you believe man more than you believe me. You have more in fear than you have in faith in me. And that goes for the church folks as well as the worldly folks. It doesn't make a difference. They still all operating on the same thing. Lack of faith and living in fear. And putting it on your children. And what was so sad was Michelle Obama sitting up here talking to Dwayne Wade's son, condoning. Oh, it's so positive that they got their son up here dressed like a girl. Ooh, Lord. These are these wicked people. Wicked. She got to go on there and use his son to promote the LGBT transgender agenda in that bill they want to pass. To promote young kids taking hormones, children, to change their biological, mess them up biologically so they can start transgendering into something that they'll never be no matter what they take. And this is what Michelle Obama, the black culture's hero, Michelle Obama, is doing. This is what she's doing. And you sit up there and look at that boy and you just looking, this is sad. Using this child. His parents have failed him. And they're letting their child be used by this. And it's sad. And God is saying they are out to destroy the children. Everywhere you look, they coming at them. Taking their school, their emotion and connecting with other children away from them, taking their whole, that's all a child life is at this age of school, learning. This is their learning age and they're taking it away from them and we're allowing it. Parents are supporting it. The teachers unions refuse to go to work to do their job. All these wicked people selling our children, making them vulnerable to predators. And we sit back and let everywhere we look that Satan is coming after the children. Coming after them. And people support Satan's agenda by fear of their children. When you are part of the problem, why Satan is having so much access, so much control, and agenda being done against your children. Because you're afraid. And this is the things that God is saying, like, you have got to stop putting your fears onto your children. You have got to stop doing that, God is saying. You have got to stop putting your fears onto your children. You have got to stop doing it. Because if you don't, your children are going to suffer. And believe me, they're not stopping. Satan's agenda is strong, and he's going 100, 1,000% at your children. And he is on a run, and he is not stopping. He is going and going and going. He like, I'm getting as many as I can. I'm trying to destroy as many as I can. He is not stopping. He's going full force ahead towards your children. Full force ahead. And we're allowing this to happen. When children are smart enough to know that, no, Mom, no, I want to go to school, Mom. Mom, don't be afraid to get on the plane. Don't be afraid, Mom. This is coming out of the mouth of a child that has more courage than adults do. That has more of courage than adults do. This is what this is. It's time for people to stop being stuck, living their life 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years and never really done anything with your life. And then putting it in your children so they can be the same way. No. It was a lot of things. My childhood was so dysfunctional. Lord knows. But one thing I had to do was not let my dysfunctional childhood interfere with the growth of my children. I couldn't let my dysfunction have an effect and destruction in holding my children up. I had to fight that. I had to work against that, because that ain't nothing but a spirit. That is a spirit that you're putting onto your children. And I had to fight that. I had to be like, no, Lord, because every parent should want more for their children than they have for themselves. Every parent should want their children to be greater than them. And I believe the majority does. But you cannot hinder a child's spirit and growth. They are teaching this mask. I don't know if people know the psychologicalness of these masks. Every person has an individual identity. And you know how you see clouds or wall, you see faces and shapes in the sky and things, because we are programmed, we are genetically made to see faces. So if you can look in a cloud, you see a face in the cloud. Or you can look at something shaped somewhere and you see a face, because that's what we are made to do. But these masks are taking your individual identification away from you, where everything is unisex and everybody is looking like one thing. There's no more individual identity when you see people. Everybody is looking and identify as the same. There's no individual identity. And they're doing that on purpose. It takes the human connection that we have when we look at each other in the face, when we recognize each other, when you see faces and identify. They're taking that away where you don't even see that anymore. You just see a mask. You don't see the people. You can't even see people laugh or see the smile on people's faces. You can't get that with this mask. And that's why they're purposely doing it, because it's a psychological technique to wear you down, to take your individual voice, your individual identity away from you. And children that are growing without an individual identity and an individual voice, because you can't control independent thinkers. You can't control people who have a voice to speak and will use it, but you can control submissive people without a voice and an individual identity. And that is why they're doing it's nothing but a symbol. I posted this black senator who said that this is all optics in the Capitol. He said this is optics. They know good and well that there's no need for us to be wearing these masks. And he said it. But yet, everybody's put their muzzle on. Everybody is becoming uniformed in one way, one direction to go, including the church folks. Everybody is walking in unison, all in one way. No individual identity. They're trying to take the gender, no female, no woman, so everybody be uniformed as one thing. And that's what they're trying to do. And it's working. It's working on a lot of people, especially working on the black culture. Because like I said before, the black culture is the most easy manipulated culture in the world. The most manipulated. They use the black culture so much, it's the most manipulated culture in the world. So people, look at that. Think about what I'm saying. Start doing your research and stop putting your fears on your children. Have a good night.